William Harold Nungesser was born into a political family. His father, Billy Nungesser the Sr., was head of the Louisiana Republican Party when he helped Dave Treen become Louisiana governor in 1980. Treen became the state's first Republican governor since just after the Civil War, more than a century earlier. Living out his life in the toe of Louisiana's boot, Plaquemine Parish, Billy Nungesser Jr., for the most part, stayed out of politics. He made his money servicing offshore rigs with portable housing. But when he rode out Hurricane Katrina in 2005 on his Plaquemine farm and then endured the sluggish response of FEMA, he decided to jump into government to take action. He won parish president and remained there for 2 terms, surviving another major hurricane, Gustav, and then in 2010, the explosion of the Deepwater Horizon. He became a national figure on nightly news, reporting live from the oil-slicked coastline from news outlets around the world to just about anybody who would listen. Here, he explains to actress Patricia Clarkson.
Does he have 18 machines?
He's got 30 of the big ones, and that's what they're talking about today to deploy offshore.
Nungesser also traveled to Capitol Hill, where he gave key testimony before Congress about the spill's long-term environmental and economic damage.
To date, over 3,000 acres of my parish is destroyed. Not 30 miles, like the Coast Guard has said. 3,000 miles are destroyed and everything in it.
In 2011, he challenged fellow Republican, State Senator and Secretary of State Jay Darden for lieutenant governor. Nungesser lost 53-47, but he came back 4 years later to win the state's second highest office and has kept it since. As the head of state tourism, Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser has presided over record years. In 2018, 51.3 million visitors flocked to Louisiana, leaving behind $18.8 billion. Last year, a nearly 4% increase brought 53.2 million tourists and nearly $19 billion more in spending. But a worldwide shutdown to stop the coronavirus pandemic has made a repeat of those numbers impossible. With 250,000 Louisianians working in the leisure and hospitality industry, the state's 4th highest employer, restarting will take a huge effort. We sat down with Lieutenant Governor Nungesser to ask, where do we go from here? When can the state's citizens return to state parks and museums? And what kind of hope could he give to 250,000 people wanting their hospitality jobs back? Hi, I'm Leo Honeycutt. We're reporting from Baton Rouge right now with the Lieutenant Governor, Billy Nungesser, about how in the world do we restart tourism in the state and we do it the right way. Thank you very much for being here today.
Glad to be with you.
So where do we start with this? We've never gone through this before. How do we restart tourism, which is we're one of the biggest tourism states in the country?
Absolutely. 4th biggest industry in Louisiana. You know, 2018 was our best year ever. 9% increase over the previous year. They said you'll never increase it in 19, another 3.5%.
Oh, really?
Another 2 million people visited little Louisiana. And they left behind over $1.9 billion in taxes you and I didn't have to pay. That's over $1,000 a family. The good news is, coming off of 4 record-breaking years, we're pretty much starting over, but we know people love Louisiana. We've got what people love from all over the world. So that's an incredible advantage over all the other states in the country. We're going to jump out early with staycation, take a road trip in Louisiana. Louisianans love to help their neighbors. It's time to help our restaurants, our hotels, bed and breakfast, all those special shops.
That's what a lot of people are listening for right now. When can I go back to work, because so much is dependent on tourism?
Right, absolutely. Well, under phase 1, it doesn't allow us to promote tourism, but we are going to open our state parks and museums to get Louisianans to get out, go visit a state park, go shop, do it safely, so we can quickly get to phase 2. In phase 2, we're going to open our welcome centers. We're going to promote a drive market, which all the national polls show people are going to be very comfortable in a drive market. They're going to be a little reluctant to get on a plane.
Oh, okay, a drive market being get in your car and drive someplace.
Absolutely. This summer, hopefully towards June, July, we're going to be able to get people to drive to Louisiana, come visit a state park, come visit some of the smaller events that we will be hosting when it's allowed for us to do that through phase 2 and phase 3 of this reopening of Louisiana.
Okay, now I know you've been prohibited in the past from being able to advertise within the state. All of our advertising has to go out of the state to get out-of-state tourists to come into the state. But now, are we going to try to relax that to get people, Louisianians, to get to the state park?
Right, the legislatures understand it. For the last couple of years, we've promoted staycation with that 10% that we're allowed to spend, that cap in state. Now that that's been lifted, we can use whatever funds we have available to promote every event in every town and city around Louisiana. That's very important for two reasons. One is that we know we're going to have to get Louisianans to do more in Louisiana. Secondly, all the convention and visit bureaus that get that tax revenue off the hotel motel tax, they have no money. So we're going to have to give out grant money to those local tourism, main streets, historical districts to make sure they can promote all their events in their area to do as best job we can at getting people into those communities to support those local businesses as we reopen Louisiana.
Okay, now, as the mechanism for that, how's that going to work? Are they going to be entitled to some cash payout through the Lieutenant Governor's office?
We're going to be offering some grants to local tourism folks. We're also going to up our game as we get into where we can have fairs and festivals. We're going to make sure that within a drive market, everybody knows what's going on. And so we're going to promote all those events, no matter how small, to make sure through social media people know what's going on in every town and city. We're really going to have to roll up our sleeves, get creative, come up with some new ideas, and make sure we're getting an opportunity to bring every person we can to experience Louisiana.
Okay, now we're headed into summer, and summer, I'm assuming, aside from NFL football and sports in the fall and Mardi Gras in the spring, but summer is usually when people travel the most. Do you think we're going to have enough lifted to where that's going to make a difference?
Under phase 2, we're going to be ready to offer some special deals in our state parks. Free night, you book 3 nights, get a 4th night free. We're also going to be, I've been on the phone all day, any events around the country that have canceled. One event that was canceled, they're now going to have it in February. Talked to that group this morning. If they come, they're looking at Chicago or Miami. If they come to Louisiana, we're going to offer a little Louisiana lanyard. We're going to give them free Louisiana seafood prepared by a local restaurant or caterer. We're going to get a Louisiana musician to perform. So if you book your event to Louisiana instead of anywhere else in the country, that Louisiana lanyard is going to pay for the first night. And by offering great Louisiana seafood, I'm sure more of their participants will want to come when they see what we're offering. So I think we're reaching out, calling as many groups that have canceled, looking to reschedule, and trying to bring them to Louisiana. And by doing that, hopefully later summer and into the end of this year and next year, we're going to see our calendar fill up quicker than any other state because of Louisiana lanyard.
Well, yeah, you're offering a Louisiana party.
Well, and like one of the groups said, we've already spent some money and had to cancel, so that gift will help us make our convention whole. Count us in. We're coming to Louisiana. So we provide, whether it's a sporting event, a doctor's convention, we're talking to some oil and gas conferences, LNG groups that normally go to Houston or Dallas. Come book that in Louisiana, and we're going to feed you. We're going to feed your soul with Louisiana seafood.
You just saying that makes me hungry. So I'm ready to go to that party, and I can imagine how that might be a deal maker for when they're making that decision between Chicago and Miami.
We've got so many great tourism partners around this state that really are working hard on the phones, reaching out to those groups, and we went through Katrina, the oil spill, the 2016 floods that flooded 57 of 64 parishes. Mm-hmm. If any state can come back better than ever and quicker than anybody else, it's Louisiana. We just have a way of getting out, rolling up our sleeves and doing the hard work. And whether it's a swamp tour, a specialty shop, we're going to work very hard to get those places filled up and their bookings back so as many can make it through these tough times as possible. And we'll come back Louisiana strong. Nobody does it like Louisiana. I remember down in Plaquemines Parish after Katrina, the oil spill, wondering if we would ever come back.
If anybody knows about comeback, it's you.
Well, and we've got a great team here in Louisiana to make it happen. Nobody works as hard, as passionate, and has so much love for their state as Louisianans. So it's easy to get excited about the challenges ahead and know we will be back stronger than ever.
One of the problems with people who live next to Disney World and Disneyland, the old cliche is that if you live next to it, you never go to it because it's always there. In Louisiana, I doubt seriously that everybody knows where all the state parks are.
And I'll tell you, since I've been lieutenant governor, I'm guilty. I can remember family vacations going to some of the state parks, but going to Percy Quinn and those in Mississippi. And our state parks have the best fishing. And, when I took office, I was told, good luck, you're going to have to close 7 parks. We don't have the funds. Well, that wasn't an option. Thanks to the help with all the local sheriffs that have really leaned forward and helped us clean them up, get the repairs done, and making some major cuts and really consolidating the districts. We've not only been able to keep them all open, but we've done incredible improvements. All the state parks and beaches have brand new white sand last year. The cabins are in better shape. We've got new trails. We've got horseback riding, tubing, canoeing, things we never had before, new splash pads for the kids. We're starting to work on adding specialty playground equipment for special needs children that we want to get in every state park. So we're going to keep working hard to make sure there's new and exciting things to do in the state parks, museums, and all over Louisiana.
Okay, now when can people book reservations to go to the state parks?
Well, we've canceled. Today, we canceled any out-of-state people through the 15th. But Louisiana residents can go out and book a camping site or a cabin starting today through the 15th and even after that. But phase 1, we are opening up the state parks for Louisiana residents and the museums for Louisiana residents. And in phase 2, we'll welcome visitors back to Louisiana.
Now, about how much does it cost for a family in a state
Well,
park?
you can get.
I know it varies.
Yeah,
but
it does vary. Size of the cabin, the season. But for $100 something a night, you can stay at a state park. But we've got a lot of great bed and breakfasts that are really reasonable all over Louisiana, and a lot of great family-owned hotels. So wherever you go to staycation, you're going to have an incredible time and meet incredible people. I went and when I first started doing staycations, I spoke to some high school kids, and I said, look, go home and ask your parents to take you on a staycation. A little girl in the front row said, Lieutenant Governor, where are you going on your staycation? I hadn't thought about it. So I had to think quick. I said, Toledo Bend and Natchitoches. So that night I went home and told my wife we're going to Toledo Bend and Natchitoches. She said, why there? I said, I couldn't think of anything else. But we caught a lot of fish.
Well, that's pretty good, though. That's, yeah.
We went the week before Christmas. We stayed in Toledo Bend, caught a lot of fish. And then we went to Natchitoches for the Christmas lights. And my mother-in-law spent 4 hours going through that old hardware store, been in the same family for 100 years. When she went home and posted on social media all the neat things she found, 20 of her relatives have since gone to Natchitoches to go to that hardware store.
No kidding.
So my staycation, sharing it with friends and family, it'll help spread the word. And if Louisianans get out and take one staycation here in Louisiana during these difficult times, shares it with their friends and family, they will help set the pace as we go into the end of this year and next year to everybody who want to come visit those incredible things to do and see and eat here in Louisiana.
And when that trumpet sounds a call, and when that trumpet sounds a call, oh Lord, I want to be in that number. Oh, when the saints go marching, go on that high, hallelujah day. Go on that high, hallelujah day.
All right, now, just to make sure that I'm clear on this, if I book 3 nights, I get a 4th free.
That's absolutely right, at a state park.
And you can go online now to where?
You can go to LouisianaTravel.com or State Parks website, and all of them interconnect. And we even got staycation, where if you got a 3 nights you want to go see incredible things within a drive distance, we've got 15 itineraries you can book to see great things in Louisiana all over this great state.
Okay, now if just a person, a single or a couple, don't have a family, where would you recommend that they go? We have the museums, we have what, Cabildo in New Orleans?
We got the Cabildo, the Sports Hall of Fame Museum. You got we got 9 great museums from Shreveport all the way down to Homer, Morgan City, but there's another 400 museums that aren't in our system. We are working hard right now to come up with a plan to include them all in our website, because a lot of them were given back by the Secretary of State and don't have the funds to market. So we're working on a plan right now to have a museum board in New Orleans, one in Baton Rouge, one in Shreveport, that will help promote and fund those museums in their region. people are more apt to give and support if they're supporting something local in their backyard. It doesn't make sense to have a museum board for the whole state operating out of New Orleans. So we're in the process of going to bring that back to the legislature to make sure we're supporting those museums in those regions by the people that love those museums in those regions. And hopefully we're going to get the Secretary of State to join in and put the old state capitol. We're going to get the old governor's mansion in there. And those people that love those places will be able to help raise money, and that money will stay in that region for those museums. And we're going to been working hard on that study to get that back to the legislature later this year, probably not for this session, but eventually see us promoting all those museums all over the state, even the ones that are run by local government or independent groups. They need our help promoting them as well.
Okay, I've spent my whole life doing stories about the museums and state parks, and I didn't realize we had 400 museums.
I think it's about 400 all over the state if you add them all up. You know, you got the Bonnie and Clyde Museum.
Yeah.
Every time I go to a town, I find a new museum. You know, we're working on the Civil Rights Trail.
Right.
And the Civil Rights Museum, they've been talking about it for 9 years. They're now finally going to have a home in New Orleans. And so as we put together the Civil Rights Trail and join our other southern states in marketing that trail, eventually the Civil Rights Museum will have a new home in New Orleans that team has been working hard on.
Okay, and so is there a collective website where we can go to and see, maybe look at these museums and see the ones we would like to go to? I don't remember seeing that.
The museum website is LouisianaStateMuseum.com. I'm not sure of that.
Well, is there a tab on the Lieutenant Governor?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. You can go to Louisiana,
Okay.
the tourism website, and find all the great things. It connects to them all, and to book a cabin or a campsite in Louisiana State Parks, it connects you to all the sites.
And we can expect that our cabins at the state parks that we would rent are in good shape because
Yes,
you
and
got the sheriffs involved?
They
I've
came
been to a
out
couple.
and helped us really clean them up, and they continue to this day to be our partners in helping us keep them clean. We've lost 100 employees in state parks, yet because we've circled the wagons, instead of having a plumber sit at every state park waiting for something, we were able to put travel teams together and do more with less. So we've got groups that go around and fix everything in the state parks. Instead of having them sit waiting for something to break, we've been able to save hundreds of thousands of dollars and get more things fixed and in better shape than ever before. We've run it more like a business, and we've dialed down on all the subcontractors and be able to do a lot of things in-house, saving over $1 million. But those are things we had to do to keep them open. And we've got an incredible team of employees that truly love what they do in those state parks and the museums, and been able to really do some incredible things. In the last 4 years, when we took over, the Cabildo Presbytery hadn't had a new exhibit. The Cabildo hadn't had an exhibit 20 years.
Yeah, I kind of wondered.
We had the King and Queen of Spain come down, incredible exhibit. We've been able to highlight Miss Patalba, who built those apartments, and the rents go to keeping the museums up. We had her family in and did an exhibit about her incredible life. But we got new things happening all the time, and the numbers at the museums last year were up 30% visitation 1 year. With little or no marketing money, just doing those exhibits and people sharing it with their friends and family, seeing incredible things happening. We were on our way this year to doing incredible things, and we're still going to do incredible things. It's going to be a fight to get those tourism dollars back. You know, it's not like after Katrina where everybody wanted to help us.
Right.
Every state
Right.
is competing for those tourists
That's
now.
right.
But I like our chances. With the food, the culture, and the people, we welcome strangers like their family. Nowhere else in the world do people get treated like they get treated in Louisiana. So that's something not everybody has, is the great people of Louisiana to open their arms and welcome strangers like their family. And you always leave with a warm and fuzzy feeling, and usually a friend for life.
Well, we're known for hospitality here, but when you throw in the food and the music, I mean, come on, who can beat us?
So we're up to the challenge, and I know if anybody can bring tourism dollars back to their great state, Louisiana can.
What happens in this legislative session, we see such a downturn in the economy. We see such a missing gross receipts. We see the oil patch is starting to feel like the 1980s. We all lived through that. This means diminished revenue, so that it's doubtful that whatever you ask for, you're going to get 100% of this time. How's that going to reflect on trying to get tourism in and trying to make sure we maintain the state parks?
Well, hopefully, we're going to get those tourism dollars that are marked for the hotel motel tax that we've relied on. Obviously, there's going to be a big hiccup there with a few months. But as long as we're able to retain those dollars that we've booked thus far, we should be okay. We got to have that money to market Louisiana. We're not doing anything. The capital money that we planned on improving things, we put a hold on everything, knowing our job is to get those tourists back, get those numbers back up, and some of those projects we had planned we'll be able to do in the future. So we got to make sure we spend our money wisely and we get the most bang for our buck. And that's why things like Louisiana Lanyap, offering all the great things we have to offer here in Louisiana. When we offer Louisiana seafood by a local restaurant or caterer, we're helping the seafood industry, we're helping that local restaurant. When we offer a musician, we're helping our musicians, getting them back some funds and getting them known to another group of people. So those are the kind of things where we get more bang for our buck than just offering people to come back to Louisiana, where we can offer all those great things we have, supporting all those great industries in one basket is going to help us, like I said, get more bang for our buck.
Where it is that I come from, I tell them I am so down south, even the Mississippi's scared to run. Oh, from Bourbon Street to Baton Rouge, from Malibu to Thibodeau, I'll always come back to Louisiana, 'cause Louisiana is home. We got Cypress Storm.
Well, and you've been fiscally responsible too the whole time you've been here, trying to make sure that this sort of pays for itself, which is tough for almost any department to do. But from the standpoint of trying to attract people within Louisiana, is there any other plus to being a Louisianian and going to a Louisiana state park besides getting a fourth night free?
Well, we've got very low rates and we kept
low
them
rates already.
And it's a juggle because we want it to be affordable for any Louisiana family, which we feel it is.
Right.
But we don't want to undercut some of the private RV parks and business people that offer bed and breakfasts and are very affordable too. So it's a juggle there, and we fill up pretty quickly. Part of our private public initiative has been to look for local business people that might want to build 20 VIP cabins, charge a little more, we'll split 80-20. They're going to fill up too. So we're looking for those kind of partnerships like we did with the horseback riding, tubing, canoeing, where we can offer a local Louisiana business, an entrepreneur, a chance to come into the state park, make some money, and bring a new initiative in the state park for us.
We have learned that we can get a fourth night free, which is a good gimme for Louisianians. Is there it seems like there was a passport kind of program we had in the past where if you went to all the state parks.
Right, you get a thing, and I think we still have that. You can learn on the website. And there's all kind of different incentives we do from time to time in different areas of the state. Where you go book a night at every state park. That was rolled out with our staycation. Okay. And you go get us signed up at every state park, and you get a free stay at the state park. We also, in all of the state parks, we host special events, and those whether it's a cookout, as soon as we get into phase 2, I'll be going around the state hosting a campfire cookout at 1. I know 4th of July we're doing a fireworks show. So we'll be doing special events to lure people to go to these special events, which you can go and look on the calendar, LouisianaTravel.com, and see all the great events.
So you're thinking about having fireworks at all the state parks?
Not at all of them, but we'll be doing different events.
Selective state parks around the state.
There'll be special events. we get with the local tourism folks and we try to do things in those regions to lure people there.
Sure.
And where we can lend our state parks to do those, we do them, whether it's a cookout or a bonfire or different events. We do things with the Girl Scouts, Man Enough to Be a Girl, where we get the girls out and teach them how to fish.
Sure.
So we'll be hosting all those special events that we put on hold when this thing hit us. We'll be rolling those things out in phase 2 when it's safe to get out and travel in the state parks. You know, one of the things that we're really going to have to work hard on, both the restaurants, the attractions, the hotels, bed and breakfast, is we're going to have to make sure we're following the guidelines with our mask,
Sure.
with our distancing, with us cleaning everything many times a day. We're going to have to get that word out. It's as important for the safety of Louisianans as it is to make the Louisianans feel safe, that they're going to be protected when they venture out. So that's part of our marketing plan as we roll out phase 1 and phase 2 and even phase 3, is we're going to have to sell that it's going to be safe to come out and do these things at the state parks, museums. And that's why we're implementing plans to make sure we're cleaning things several times a day. We're putting up plexiglass when you go in to get your ticket at the museum, and we're going to be wiping down things and asking people to keep a distance in the museums and state parks. So we're doing it safely, both so the people coming out feel safe, but also so we don't see that curve spike.
Right.
And we continue on the path to get to phase 2 and phase 3 and do it safely.
Okay, so that would involve then sanitizing after each stay at a cabin.
Absolutely. And making sure everything is sterilized, wiped down, everything's washed and cleaned in between those stays. And we have professionals that do that for us now, and we will continue to put extra care, but also letting the people know that.
All right, now at every one of the museums I've gone to and the state parks that I've done stories with, you always have docents there or you have volunteers, and they're really passionate about Louisiana in general, but about their area and about that state park. Do you have more volunteers who are volunteering to try to man these and try to be the interface with the public?
We absolutely are. But we've got to be careful because some of those volunteers are up in age, and we don't want them to come out unless they feel absolutely safe. The people that are more susceptible are not going to be interacting with the public until we get further along and feel like it's a lot safer for them. So the older people that normally may be volunteering at a state park or museum will probably not be doing that in phase 1 because we want to make sure we're doing everything to protect Louisianans first and foremost.
Now, what about airlines? Airlines are really taking a major hit, but New Orleans particularly is a destination city.
It's going to be a challenge. You know, I know there's a lot of things being talked about, every other seat on a plane, but we're looking at the data every week that USA Travel puts out, and they are polling every week. That's where we get our data that knows people are going to want to stay closer to home. The RV sales are doing record numbers, and we know the first market people are going to feel comfortable is a drive market. So that's where we're going to put our efforts initially out the gate, is to concentrate on a so many state drive market, keep watching that data, and as people feel more comfortable flying, the conferences, those things that'll start booking into next year, then we'll start marketing those areas as well.
Have we really lost that many conferences?
We've lost a lot, yeah. And we've lost a lot of bookings at the state parks. And because as you talk to these groups, they're polling their members. Where do you feel comfortable going? Because it's one thing to host a conference, get them to come back to Louisiana. It's another thing to get their participants to feel comfortable coming. And that's why that's got to be part of our marketing plan.
Look, if we cleaned ourselves up and sanitized ourselves after Katrina, we pretty much have we got the playbook on that.
That's exactly, we got to use that to our advantage. You know, as we go into phase 2 and open the welcome centers, if guests pull in there and don't have a mask, we're going to provide one for them. So they feel safe traveling about wearing that mask here in Louisiana. And we're going to be asking them when they venture into the shops and places in Louisiana to do it with caution, keep their distance. So we're welcoming guests back in a safe manner.
What is your overall feeling with regard to making this ramp back up? You know, like you said, all the other 49 states have got as many challenges as we do. We've overcome the fact that there was a spike in Orleans and Jefferson Parish, which we believe was the aftermath of Mardi Gras, which obviously we held and did not know about coronavirus. But we've overcome that. And so the numbers are looking really good right now. Now, how do you reconvince the outside world, look, we're doing okay?
But one of the things we've got going for us is we've been able to market family-friendly, affordable Mardi Gras all over Louisiana for the last 4 years and have done it successfully. We've seen double-digit increases in out-of-town guests in Shreveport, Morgan City, Houma. People look at our map and say, wow, I can't afford a hotel room in New Orleans, but I can afford Lafayette or Lake Charles or Alexandria or Shreveport, Ruston. Same thing with Christmas. All the great Christmas lights and shopping opportunities all over Louisiana. We've been able to market those downtown districts and all the unique shops they have and things for Christmas. So we've got good experience doing that. The trails and byways. Doug, who's the head of tourism, before he had that job, was head of trails and byways. His job was getting people off the beaten path into those rural areas around Louisiana. And all the indications are that people are going to feel more comfortable going in smaller areas and seeing those old historical districts and towns. That plays right into what Louisiana has to offer. So we want to make sure if we've got a museum or an antique alley show, that we're making sure everybody that wants to know about those things, we share that through social media. So all those special book fests, art show, all those special events that'll be held all over Louisiana in those small towns, we want to be able to market and let people know about them because they're going to feel more comfortable in smaller groups traveling and going to those small towns. So it's a great opportunity for us to highlight those main streets all over Louisiana.
Oh, I'm coming home, Louisiana proud. Oh, I'm coming home, Louisiana proud. I've seen a man on the moon, the Lord cometh soon to bend now.
Okay, so we are skewing to an older demographic here. We're talking about grandparents taking grandkids someplace, myself included. So is there someplace you would recommend right off the bat? Has something come to mind that's like the best place to go in the state?
Well, everyone likes to take their grandkids, catch fish to a beach. Our state parks have some incredible fishing. And our guides and our people that work in the state park, our employees, they love to take and show you where to catch the fish. We got some great hiking trails, bike trails. And if you want to take your grandkids horseback riding, Bogachita has a half day and whole day horseback riding experience second to none. We've actually filmed a national TV show about horseback riding in Louisiana state parks. We hope to get those open at more state parks. We've also got canoeing, tubing on the river there in some of our state parks. Just some incredible things to see. And you can take them to the historical sites that we've got 17 historical sites in connection with all the state parks that are great to see. Some of those historical sites and really educational for our kids. But you can't miss those museums in every town and city to educate the kids on those museums. Some of I hadn't gone in since I was a kid. but a lot of great things to see. And these historical towns and downtown historical districts and main streets with some incredible shops and things to see all over Louisiana.
Well, and on the website too, you've got a map there. You just click on it and you can see where those sites are.
Absolutely. And every kid loves to catch some fish.
Okay, now just so I'm clear on this, we can go there now. So you can,
Louisiana residents can go to the state park and museums, as what the governor announced today. Absolutely. So once we get into phase 2, we'll welcome visitors back. But for right now, they're your parks, Louisiana. Go out and enjoy them. They're your museums. It's your state. Go out and enjoy it. It's a great time to travel Louisiana and go to some places you haven't seen. We got the Gothic Jail in DeRidder, incredible place. Some really great plantation homes, some neat bed and breakfast, and every one of those has a great story. So nowhere you go in Louisiana will you be disappointed with the things to do, places to eat, great musicians playing in the local places. So you'll have a great time.
okay, so we are going to ramp up. I know it's only 25% occupancy for the restaurants, but we are going to phase that in. We're ramping that up right now. So what are you hearing from restaurateurs?
Well, some of them won't open under the 20%, 5%. It's just not worth them bringing their
feasible.
staff, and but many will. And we're asking everyone to go out and support those local restaurants, whether it's takeout or you eat outside at a place. But you know, summer's a tough time for the restaurants anyway. So without the support of Louisianans through this phase 1 to really get out and support those restaurants, many of them won't make it. So we really need to venture out and support those local restaurants all over Louisiana. They are a big part of our tourism industry. People come to Louisiana to eat. Without those local restaurants, that's a big part of our puzzle in luring people to Louisiana. That's why we offered the Louisiana Lanyard. So we really need Louisiana's help to support them, help them make it through this phase 1 and phase 2, so till we can open the doors to Louisiana to the world.
So we should go and get the takeout from our restaurants and then go to the state parks and eat it.
I think that's a great idea. You need to put you on the payroll.
Well, and it's not just about state parks and museums. I know that the Louisiana Travel Promotion Association and Tourism, everybody is strapped and kind of frightened right now about how long this is going to take to ramp up. Is there any crystal ball you got out there to kind of give us some hope that that's going to kick off quickly?
You know, and I was talking to the Swamp Tours this morning, where they're going to open up for business and every third seat in the boat. And if you're a family and you feel comfortable sitting together, and they're going to be taking extra precautions, it's very important that everyone take it seriously and use the hand sanitizer, wash your hands, keep your distance, wear the mask. Because if we do it the right way, and phase 1, we continue to see a decline for 2 or 3 weeks and can roll right into phase 2. And then if we continue to do the right thing and roll into phase 3 after 2 or 3 weeks, that's where we really start getting those events back to Louisiana that people will want to come and see and do. And it's up to us, Louisiana. If we heed the warnings and do it in a safe manner, we'll be able to get through phase 2 and phase 3 in 2 or 3 weeks each and get back to business normal, where we're hosting these events with the great musicians, chefs, and all the great things we love about Louisiana.
Oh Lord, we've lost Jazz Fest this year. We might lose people coming to the stadiums for see the Saints play, LSU. You know, there's a lot that we have yet to cover here, and it is kind of frightening about getting the numbers back out. And people are ready to get out of their houses.
Well, and it's hard to project or predict what may be.
Right.
You know, we know some of the Peach Fest has been moved to October. Are we going to be able to have a Peach Fest in October? Hopefully so. But I encourage everyone to let's talk positive about what could be. Let's do it safely, but let's talk about Mardi Gras next year and Mardi Gras all over Louisiana and doing it safely and distancing yourself. You know, many of the Mardi Gras celebrations all over Louisiana, you can spread out on a neutral ground and not be within 10 feet. So let's plan to do all the things we love about Louisiana and do it safely and talk about how things are getting better and how we're going to change the way we go out in public because we want a safer, better Louisiana and we want to welcome tourists back and we want to do it safely. And if we keep a positive attitude and talk about all those things we're going to do in a safe manner moving forward, we'll get through these phases rather quickly and we can enjoy all those great things we love about Louisiana sooner rather than later. But we need to stay positive, stay Louisiana strong, and help our neighbors and support all of those great things we love about Louisiana.
Yeah, I know that you and the governor both have made the point that the worst thing we could possibly do is to see a spike because that would spook tourists coming to the state.
It spook everyone. It'd make you not want to go back out if you think you can't do it in a safe manner. So it's up to Louisianans to make sure we heave all those things the governor asked us to do, that we do it in a safe manner, and we see those numbers. We've got incredible people putting on the front line in the medical industry, in the service industry, out there risking their health to service us. Let's respect them and do it safely, and we can all get back to normal sooner rather than later and do it in a safe manner and enjoy all those great things we love about Louisiana.
All right, now let's talk about some of our non-polluting industries that we really ramped up in the last 15 years, mainly the film business. What's on that front? We've had to shut down some of the productions. I know Hollywood has shut down, but how can we feather that back in quickly?
Well, there again, reaching out to those industries saying as soon as you feel safely in getting back in production, Louisiana is open for business. We unveiled the Louisiana Film Trail, Lights, Camera, Louisiana. People want to go where movies were shot and where people were shot, like Bonnie and Clyde right here in Louisiana. A great movie that was made, The Lawman, with Kevin Costner, right before the shutdown. This was rolled out, shot here in Louisiana, about the lawmen that chased down Bonnie and Clyde. But so we highlight all those great films that were shot here in Louisiana, and it makes a difference. We encourage the film industry to come back. We're open our arms. We're here to support you safely and do what we can to make those filming easier and do what we can to support you here in Louisiana.
Well, and we have a lot of people here dependent on that industry.
Absolutely. And you know, we did a study. It looked like the tax credits were going to be lost in one of the special sessions. So I wanted to know, what is the value of the film industry to tourism? And it showed that 9% of everyone that comes to Louisiana comes here heavily influenced by a TV show or movie.
No kidding.
That's a little over $1 billion of economic impact that we get from that industry.
Wow.
When we showed that study to the to the legislators, it made it a little easier to accept the tax credits as a real value to Louisiana tourism. Now, we encourage those movie industry to highlight the town or city they film in, or superimpose on the side of the bridge, you know, Baton Rouge. So we want people to want to go to that city or town. And we're also going to encourage the film industry to leave behind an artifact. So one day we can have a museum with all the artifacts about the great films that were filmed.
Parts of sets and things
Absolutely.
like that. Wow.
Steel Magnolia, we just celebrated 25 years in Natchitoches.
That's hard to believe.
People put that city on the map. 100 years ago, the first movie to gross $1 million, Tarzan, filmed in Morgan City. So we like to highlight all those great films that have been going on for many years, and we want to make sure the film industry knows the Lieutenant Governor's office will do anything to reach out and make those issues that may come up during the filming help any way we can to expedite it, because time is money. So we want to welcome those films, those TV shows back to Louisiana and continue to support them with the tax credits here in Louisiana.
All right, now in the minutes that we've got left, there are, in case somebody is just tuning in too, I just want to reiterate that for Louisiana residents who go to state parks, if you book 3 nights, you get a 4th free.
Absolutely.
That's correct. All right, and they can go now.
Go now and book your campsite or your cabin, we want to fill them up with Louisiana residents.
Okay, now as far as the museums go,
they're going to be open as well. All of the museums, we will be distancing people through the museums, but we welcome you to bring your family and come out and enjoy those museums in Louisiana.
Okay, and from the standpoint of restaurants, I know we're at the 25% as we sit here today, but when do you think that may open up?
I think in phase 2, hopefully we'll ramp it up to 50% or more. I don't want to speak for the governor. The governor's done a good job at listening to the medical professionals and what they think is we can do reasonably and continue to see that curve go. He's been very passionate about working with them to do the most we can to get Louisiana back open. So I don't want to speak for his team. We're going to support those efforts, but we believe in phase 2, we will see it open up a lot more. And in phase 3, hopefully get back to normal for our restaurants and attractions.
Well, I know we can't get back immediately to the 51 or 53 million people coming to Louisiana, but can you ballpark what you might expect for the rest of the year? I know it's going to be tough.
I have no idea until we able to lure some of these events back and safely host them. And we can't do that till we get to phase 2 and phase 3. Phase 2, we will open our welcome centers and welcome those visitors back from surrounding states. And we will, as we know what those phases look like, what events we can host. 4th of July, we're still hoping that we can have these great celebrations outside with the fireworks shows and those things, and lure people back to the state parks for those events. But we want to do it in a safe manner. So I'm sure while we are in phase 1, we'll be having the discussions with the governor's teams, the Resilience Committee. The governor's done a good job at putting those committees together so every group can express what's important or what they need through these phases, and then intertwine with the medical professionals to make sure we do it in a safe manner.
Now, from the standpoint of people that have time on their hands, and we've had a lot of that over the last 2 months, but let's say that somebody is out of a job and they may want to try to help with this effort until they get a job. Is there some clearinghouse through Lieutenant Governor's office where somebody can say, I'll volunteer to try to help do this?
Our volunteer website, Volunteer Louisiana, we sign up volunteers every day. Some of those volunteers, I believe, are assisting the governor's team in some of their efforts for making sure we're tracking the people that may be exposed to the virus. So we're making sure they're quarantined in place. But those volunteers have helped out during hurricanes, during the flooding of 2016. And in normal times, we help our seniors and go into neighborhoods and repair homes or build wheelchair ramps through AmeriCorps. But our volunteer, Judd and our volunteer team do incredible work all year round in Louisiana. We've got over 10,000 volunteers signed up, and they can sign up on the website there to assist and help in many capacities around Louisiana where people need help.
Well, the summer is here, and so people are already that I know are antsy to get out of the house for anything.
Well, get out and staycation. You've got one of the most beautiful states that belongs to you. So Louisianans need to get out and enjoy their backyard, their state. There's some incredible things to see all over Louisiana. Go see a part of Louisiana you haven't seen. I promise you won't be disappointed.
And you can fish. Of course, you have to have the fishing license.
Absolutely. You can fish, canoe, horseback ride, some incredible trails and bike trails all over Louisiana, and some great things to see and do and great places to eat.
You know, I remember the old field trips that we used to take. Of course, I realize you can't social distance on a bus, but we have to assume that this fall, schools will be back in session.
Hopefully we'll have this thing under control and we'll be back in school. We'll be back taking those field trips to some incredible state parks and museums all over Louisiana.
Okay, and again, the museums, they're varied in price, or because I know there's some museums that are free.
Yeah, some of them are free and some of them have a small admission, and of course seniors get in and military discounts for our parks and museums, so that we honor that throughout the state.
Now, and the state, you will supply masks?
We're going to try to supply, in phase one, we're ordering some masks for the state parks and museums, so when we're open to visitors from out of town, that we want them to operate safely in Louisiana to protect Louisiana citizens as well. So we hope to get those masks into the state parks and welcome centers when we roll out phase two. We just ordered them this week. They won't be in by this Friday, but as soon as we're able to provide those for people that don't have them in the state park or at the welcome centers, we will provide those.
Well, and for people who don't remember your background, if anybody can come out and is resilient, it's you. Coming out of Plaquemine Parish, and especially through the oil spill, through the Deepwater Horizon and Hurricane Gustav. In fact, I was interested to read that in Hurricane Gustav, you had to sink several barges so that they wouldn't damage in that hurricane. And I mean, how did you get that passed?
Well, we just did it. Under state of emergency, we knew that much of the levees that failed were not failed, they were hit by barges and ripped holes in them. And I couldn't bear to see that happen and flood the parish again. So we went out and sunk 19 barges because the owners did move them in a timely manner so they would not damage the levees, and it worked. We didn't have one barge come through a levee for Gustav, and we went out and did that. And
that takes some chutzpah to do that.
Well, and then we helped refloat them and get them back in service as quickly after as we could. But our job was to protect the people of the parish. But you're right, we've been through Katrina, Rita, Gustav, Ike, Isaac, the oil spill, the floods of 2016. As I traveled the state, 57 of the 64 parishes received flooding. We didn't know if we'd ever recover. And here we are today sitting 4 years of record-breaking tourism years in the last 4 years. And it's because of the love and passion, the people in the tourism industry, in the hospitality industry, all those workers in the hotels, restaurants, they have such love and passion for welcoming tourists that everybody leaves Louisiana with a friend for life, and they want to come back, and they tell their friends and family. So that's why we will bounce back quicker than any state. I don't know what those tourism numbers will look like coming out of this, but we will lead the country as we come out of this, because that's what Louisiana does. The love and passion Louisianans have for our state is greater than any state, and we do have the best team to get this done.
Okay, now we've talked about residents, about what we can do with the staycation. What do you advise to the business owners who are dying to get back just so that they will so they can make it?
Well, to get open and let us help you as we do in the main streets, in the historical districts, and in your communities. Any events in those communities, we're going to put funds behind to make sure we drive as many people into those communities for those events, so they'll come shop and eat at the restaurants. And as we promote these staycations, encouraging people to get out and support those local restaurants, we're there to support you. Our tourism folks are going to be out in phase 2. I'll be traveling the state, staying at those bed and breakfast hotels, promoting every town and city in this state, everything that we can do to get people out there to support them. We're there to help you and support your business and industry.
Okay, and if somebody's watching this and they have a business, they're trying to get back online, trying to survive, do they contact you directly? How?
Well, if they contact our tourism office, if they've got ideas or thoughts that we can do to help them, we're working through the local tourism office. So we recommend they reach out to their local tourism office, and they are contacting us, and we're working with all the regions to promote all the things in those regions. Their tourism folks are on the phone with us daily, coming up with ideas and thoughts that we can do to promote and drive people into their region.
So everybody who's been off right now can expect to come back on as quickly as we can ramp.
Make your reservations now and get out and support those local restaurants and all those shops because we need them to make it through these tough times. So we've got something to welcome tourists from all over the world when Louisiana is open to welcome tourists back. We want to make sure those restaurants, those shops, those businesses survive. Go take a swamp tour.
Right.
Incredible. If you haven't been out on a swamp tour, it's worth.
Can you catch your own alligator on the swamp tour?
You can. I think you can pet one.
Yeah, you might become lunch. Well, no, that's. So I guess we really should look forward to going to the restaurants, get the takeout, go to the state parks and eat.
Absolutely. That's a great
So
great day to spend and get out and stay at a bed and breakfast or a local hotel or a state park.
Right.
And go visit those communities. Take a staycation right here in your backyard. Take a Louisiana road trip and see that state that you've lived in your whole life. And I'm sure there's parts you haven't been to.
Right.
You will enjoy them.
Okay. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser, thank you very much for this day.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, and thank you for watching. I'm Leo Honeycutt, and hey, go see Louisiana.
It's yours.
And I'll always come back to Louisiana, 'cause Louisiana is home.